YouTube, what's going on, man? It's your boy McLavishh, peace, prosperity, and power, mind, body, and soul, death before dishonor. Speaking the truth, keeping the faith, and holding the fuck down. Right now, I'm a little, a little under the weather, but the grind still continues. We're not gonna allow a sickness to stop me from doing what I need to do. You see the title today, man. Before we get into the video, I want to share my thoughts. This was an entire lose-lose situation for Will Smith. This is a lose-lose situation. Any way he would have went about this, I feel as though would have been talked about. It would have been the wrong way. Like, let's give a couple examples. For one, if Will Smith decided to not slap Chris Rock on that stage, it makes him look weak as a man in front of the public. Well, for me, I don't give a fuck about what the public thinks. But at the same time, on the opposite end of the spectrum, you have what has happened, which is he smacked the shit out of Chris Rock. And honorably so. As a man, you defend your family, you defend your name honorably. Chris Rock initiated the lose lose situation, but it's Chris Rock's job to create comedy. The entire situation, hoax or not, is a it's just a reminder of how far we have to go, not only as humanity, but specifically as a black community. This one definitely shows you as a man, you have to make a decision about how you want to defend your name, your legacy, and your reputation. And honorably so, I feel as though, you know, making sure your wife's name wasn't thrown around in vain is a part of that. You have to stand up and do something to defend your family. But at the same time, the backlash of it, the public's opinion that nobody really should give a fuck about, you know. But I think excuse me, I think he really couldn't have done anything to win the public's opinion. Nobody was but he has to defend his reputation, he has to defend his family's name. So, honestly, man, this tough. Let's get right to the video, man.
Mm-hmm.
You can already see he's this, and I can commend a man who can put his pride to the side and do what he has to do to. I don't know. I don't know if he's trying to win the public's opinion here or just genuinely express sincerity back to Chris Rock for his actions. Honestly, but for every action there's a consequence, and Chris Rock needs to understand that. Talking about a man's wife in the public in front of him grants all rights for Will Smith to go up there and beat his ass.
Why didn't you apologize to Chris in your acceptance speech?
Hold on. Let me move my webcam. Yeah, this should be fine. Oh shit, I'm tripping. Ain't no chat.
I was fogged out by that point. It's all fuzzy. I've reached out to Chris, and the message that came back is that he's not ready to talk, and when he is, he will reach out. So I will say to you, Chris, I apologize to you. My behavior was unacceptable.
I'm gonna say this as a young black man, I don't worship celebrities or anything like that, but to see people who are very prominent successfully, even if they are, devils for real. We're not going down the rabbit hole today. This is just a blind reaction. What I see is, the black community has a lot more healing to do, and that's just absolute truth. Like we already knew that, right? But when you see things like this, it's just a prime example of how far we need to go in order to continue to unify. The biggest thing is loving ourselves and unifying, but we can't do that when we have people who are successful doing things like this.
And I'm here whenever you're ready to talk. Um, I want to apologize to Chris's mother. I saw an interview that Chris's mother did, and that was one of the things about that moment. I just didn't realize, and I wasn't thinking, but how many people got hurt
Mhm.
in that moment.
For every action, there's a reaction and an equal consequence. A lot of people don't understand that, and that's what I tell people spiritually. Like every decision that you make will impact your future. Everything that you do will impact your future, even if there is a future, right? But you have to live your life in the present moment in the best means possible, and that means not stepping on other people, not destroying other people's, you know, their lives or anything that goes on in that sense. Because you never know what unintentional consequence can happen because of it. So if you live your life on the morally good, because morality is a concept that was created by human, but internally, if you know what decisions need to be made, right, for the good of yourself and your soul, you follow that. The intuitive instinct that God is giving you.
So I want to apologize to Chris's mother. I want to apologize to Chris's family, specifically Tony Rock. We had a great relationship. Tony Rock was my man, um, and this is probably irreparable. Um, I spent the last 3 months replaying and understanding the nuances and the complexities of what happened in that moment. Um, and I'm not going to try to unpack all of that right now, but I can say to all of you, there is no part of me that thinks that was the right way to behave in that moment.
That's what I'm saying. It was a lose lose situation. You have to defend your family honorably. You have to defend your family name, but at the same time, people said he could have went to the back and approached Chris Rock about it, but this man just slandered your wife in front of millions of people. Like I don't know, millions. I think millions of people watched the Grammys or whatever the fuck it was, right? The Oscars. I don't give a fuck. But as a man, there's a certain point where you have to defend your family name. So whatever choice he decided to make, oh, excuse me, whatever choice he decided to make, he had to do it honorably because that's what a man has to do when it comes to defending his family.
There's no part of me that thinks that's the optimal way to handle a feeling of disrespect or insults. After Jada rolled her eyes, did she tell you to do something? No. Um, it's like, I made a choice on my own from my own experiences, from my history with Chris, Jada.
I just want to say this: as a man, you start to understand your woman, especially after some years. You know, so when you see her roll, you see her roll her eyes, right? That's obviously a sign of disrespect. That's obviously a sign that she didn't like it. So whether or not Jada said something directly, her body language, the way she responded, told everything Will Smith needed to know. So, hey, she didn't initiate it, but she wasn't not a part of it.
Jada had nothing to do with it. I'm sorry, babe. I'm going to say sorry to my kids and my family for the heat that I brought on all of us. To all my fellow nominees, you know, this is a community. It's like I won because you voted for me, and it really breaks my heart to have stolen and tarnished your moment. I can still see Questlove's eyes. You know, it happened on Questlove's award, and you know, it's like I'm sorry really isn't sufficient. What would you say to the people who looked up to you before the slap, or people who expressed that you let them down?
I don't give a fuck. What would you have done? Took him to the back and talked to him casually. Now your reputation is tarnished because it doesn't look like you can defend your family. It's a lose lose situation. That's how I see it. It's a lose lose situation. If anybody feels as though it was a win lose situation, please leave a comment down below and we can discuss it.
Um, so there's two things. One, disappointing people is my central trauma. I hate when I let people down. So
Respectfully.
it hurts. It hurts me psychologically and emotionally to know I didn't live up to people's image.
And he's just playing with his reputation here. He understands that he has a very prominent reputation in the world. So when people see stuff like that, it's just like, whoa, Will Smith did what? You know, but once again, I'm not saying he's a leader or anything, but a leader leads his own way. He doesn't. Sometimes you can't give a fuck about the public's opinion. You just have to do what you need to do in order to survive out here in this world. Know the laws of the land and live your life honorably, and you can just go about what the fuck you need to do. Like, it's a lose lose situation, but I felt as though he had to defend his family in that moment. He had to, like, cause then he's Jada. You know how Jada is. You know how Jada is. So you're not. You know, it's just one of these situations where it just needs to go. You know, something needed to happen.
An impression of me. And the work I'm trying to do is I am deeply remorseful, and I'm trying to be remorseful without being ashamed of myself, right? I'm human, and I made a mistake, and I'm trying not to think of myself as a piece of shit.
You're not.
So I would say to those people, I know it was confusing. I know it was shocking. But I promise you, I am deeply devoted and committed to putting light and love and joy into the world. And, you know, if you hang on, I promise we'll be able to be friends again.
Respectfully. Respectfully. Like I said, my whole take about this situation is that it's a lose lose situation. Either you responded one way or you responded the other. It was. I wouldn't say it's black and white. There are too many variables to throw around. But at the same time, you really gotta, as a man, you gotta defend your family, and that's what I stand on. Defend your family, defend your name, defend your wife, defend your children. So when a man disrespects your family, not only in public but in front of millions of people, you have to do something. You have to do something. It's your boy McLavishh, man. Peace, prosperity, and power, mind, body, and soul, death before dishonor. We keeping the content rolling, baby. Speaking the truth, keeping the faith, and holding it the fuck down, man. Y'all have a blessed fucking week.